What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Khamzat Chimaev recently shared his thoughts on his fight with Dricus Du Plessis, admitting he expected it to be far more difficult than it turned out to be. Speaking candidly, Chimaev said that while Du Plessis is a skilled and tough opponent, his own wrestling and grappling abilities proved to be too dominant, leaving Dricus with little opportunity to execute his game plan. To be honest, I thought he'd be stronger than he was, Chimaev said. He's not a bad fighter, but I didn't let him work much. My wrestling and grappling techniques are on another level, and that's why he couldn't show what he wanted to do in the fight. Chimaev also expressed frustration with how the MMA community often diminishes his victories, attributing them to his opponents being past their prime, rather than acknowledging his skill. I remember when I beat Robert Whittaker and broke his jaw, he continued. People said he was just old and past his best, but then he fought again and showed everyone he's still elite. The undefeated fighter pointed out that this same pattern happened after his win against Kamaru Usman. When I defeated Usman, people said he was getting old, but now he's a contender again at 77 kilograms. That proves my wins weren't because they were done. It's because I'm better. Chimaev believes fans underestimate his performances because his dominance makes world-class fighters look ordinary. When I control them, it looks easy, but that's not because they're weak. It's because I don't give them any space to fight. I push the pace, use my power, and control every second. While he remains respectful toward his opponents, Chimaev emphasized that his focus is always on improving and proving doubters wrong. I train harder than anyone. I don't care what people say. Old, new, strong, weak. I'll fight anyone. I just want to show I'm the best in the world. For Khamzat, it's not just about winning. It's about dominating every challenge, no matter who stands across the octagon. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Justin Gaethje recently reflected on Khabib Nurmagomedov's comment that he was the hardest hitter the former lightweight champion ever faced. The praise came from Khabib himself during an appearance on Mike Tyson's podcast around 4 years ago, where he acknowledged the incredible power behind Gaethje's punches and kicks. When asked about his reaction to Khabib's words, Gaethje admitted that while it was flattering to hear, it didn't necessarily make him feel great, given how their fight ended. Hearing Khabib say I hit the hardest, that I hit like a truck, doesn't really feel that good because he still beat me, Gaethje said. He's undefeated, he walked away as champion, so yeah, it's cool to hear, but it's not something I celebrate. During their 2020 title fight at UFC 254, Gaethje landed several powerful shots that visibly affected Khabib, including leg kicks that disrupted his movement and a few hard right hands that forced Khabib to adjust his game plan. Still, Khabib's relentless grappling and submission skills earned him a second-round victory by triangle choke, the final fight of his legendary undefeated career. Gaethje recalled that he truly believed he could push Khabib to his limits that night. I hit him really hard, kicked him really hard, and caught him with a clean right hand, but the guy just doesn't break. He's a different breed, he said. Even when you land your best shot, he just keeps coming forward. Despite the loss, Gaethje appreciates the respect from one of the greatest fighters in MMA history. It's cool hearing it from Khabib, a guy who's faced so many greats and dominated everyone. It means something coming from him, he added. Still, the BMF champion made it clear that his mindset is focused on growth and redemption, not nostalgia. At the end of the day, I didn't win that fight. That's what matters to me. I respect Khabib a lot, but I'm always looking forward to the next challenge, the next war, the next opportunity to prove I'm one of the best. For Gaethje, being known as the hardest hitter is a badge of honor, but victory remains the only reward that truly matters. Move on to another news. Renato Moicano recently admitted that he's relieved he didn't accept a short-notice fight against Charles Oliveira at UFC Rio after witnessing how sharp and dominant the former lightweight champion looked that night. Moicano, who was briefly considered as a replacement opponent, said it would have been a huge mistake to step in with only 3 weeks of preparation. Let me tell you something, it would have been very hard for anyone that night to beat Charles, Moicano said. He looked on point. His physique, his energy, everything was perfect. I'm glad I dodged that bullet because taking that fight on short notice with no full camp would not have been good for me. Moicano praised Oliveira's performance, describing him as focused and physically strong. The guy looked like he didn't want to lose. He was motivated and ready for war. You could see it in his eyes, he explained. When Charles is in that mindset, he's one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. Despite his admiration, Moicano also shared his thoughts on a potential rematch between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway, a matchup Dana White recently mentioned could happen for the BMF title. According to Moicano, Holloway might have the edge in that fight. It's going to be Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway, and I actually like that fight a lot, he said. Max has incredible boxing and pressure. I think Max wins if he can stay disciplined and keep the fight standing. However, Moicano noted that if Oliveira manages to take Holloway's back, it could be over quickly. If someone can get to Max's back, it's Charles, he warned. But I still think Max is too smart and too tough to get finished that way. I don't see him losing unless he makes a big mistake. Ultimately, Moicano believes both fighters bring exciting styles and championship-level grit. Charles is dangerous everywhere, but Max has that relentless volume and confidence, he said. No matter what, that fight's going to be incredible for the fans. Moicano closed by emphasizing how impressed he was by Oliveira's resurgence. After seeing that performance, I'm glad I didn't take the fight, he admitted. Charles looked unstoppable. Sometimes you just have to respect greatness and live to fight another day. Move on to another news. UFC President Dana White has officially removed several fighters from the organization's roster following last weekend's UFC Rio event. According to a report from Sherdog's Tom Feely, 4 fighters have been released due to recent performance struggles and other issues. First on the list is Irene Alexia, who was let go after suffering her 3rd consecutive loss this past weekend. The defeat dropped her overall UFC record to 1-3, signaling the end of her run with the promotion. Fellow UFC fighter Yana Santos reacted to the news on social media, posting a blunt comment. How do you fail a weigh-in, lose 90% of your fights, and get busted for PEDs in just 4 appearances? Santos's post quickly went viral, highlighting the brutal reality of the sport's competitive nature. Next, Andre Muniz has also been cut from the roster following his first-round loss to Edmund Shabazian at UFC 320 earlier this month. The defeat marked his 4th loss in 5 fights, with his most recent victory dating back to early 2023. Once seen as a top grappling threat in the middleweight division, Muniz's decline has now cost him his spot in the UFC. As previously reported, Justin Tafa was another name on the release list. The heavyweight struggled with a botched weight cut ahead of the UFC Perth card, which forced him to withdraw from competition. Sources indicate that Tafa plans to take time off from MMA to recover and reset before deciding on his next career move. Finally, Brogan Walker has also been released after dropping her 3rd straight fight on the UFC 320 card against Veronica Hardy. This loss came after a 2.5-year layoff, during which Walker struggled to regain her previous form. The UFC has made it clear that consistent performance is key to maintaining a roster spot. With a growing pool of rising talent, fighters who fail to deliver results often find themselves on the chopping block. Dana White's latest round of cuts serves as another reminder of how unforgiving and competitive the fight game truly is. Move on to another news. This week has been dominated by headlines about Alex Pereira, and after Khamzat Chimaev called him out again, that fight is generating major buzz. But while everyone's talking about Pereira, another blockbuster matchup is just around the corner. Islam Makachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, a fight that's dividing the MMA world. Most analysts agree that when it comes to grappling, Islam Makachev is in a league of his own. His wrestling and control are world-class, refined through years of training in Dagestan's unforgiving gyms. However, the striking aspect is where things get truly interesting. Makachev has shown steady improvement on the feet, but Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, is a pure striker, bigger, sharper, and capable of ending fights with either hand. That contrast between grappler and striker makes this matchup one of the most intriguing of the year. Rising welterweight Ian Gary, who's preparing to face Belal Muhammad at UFC Qatar, recently shared his detailed take on the fight. Gary believes that JDM's striking will be the difference maker, explaining that the biggest question is whether Jack can use his stand-up effectively enough to neutralize Islam's range, timing, and relentless pressure. Gary, who's also preparing for a strong wrestler, said he understands the challenge firsthand. For him, the key to victory is simple: shutting down takedowns and forcing the grappler to fight on the feet. He expects that to be JDM's main objective as well. The fight for me, Gary explained, really comes down to what happens when Islam gets a hold of Jack. How much has Jack improved in that area? Because Islam has been world-class in grappling his entire life. He's mastered the art of control and positioning. If Jack can consistently defend those takedowns, like he did it against Belal, then he's got a real shot. Gary further broke down the technical aspects, saying that JDM's jab, stance switches, and fluid striking will be key factors. Islam doesn't change stances as often, so Jack might have more rhythm and fluidity in his striking. If he keeps it standing, I think Jack wins clean. Ultimately, Gary believes the entire fight depends on one crucial factor: whether JDM can stop Makachev's takedowns over 5 rounds. If he can, it might be the fight that changes everything in the lightweight division. Move on to another news. Fluffy Hernandez has officially called out Dricus Du Plessis UFC, reigniting interest in a fighter many fans had forgotten after his one-sided defeat to Khamzat Chimaev. That loss pushed DDP out of the title picture, but this potential matchup with Hernandez could mark his road back to redemption. It would take a monumental winning streak for Du Plessis to earn a rematch with Chimaev. Yet a win here could be a huge step in that direction. After Fluffy pulled out of his scheduled bout with Reinier de Ridder, fans were left disappointed. But now his willingness to face Du Plessis has stirred excitement once again. The matchup has all the ingredients for a war. Two powerful, aggressive middleweights with everything to prove. Meanwhile, the division remains chaotic. Nasruddin Imavov is still viewed as the logical next title challenger, but the UFC appears to be waiting for the outcome of the de Ridder vs. Brendan Allen fight before making any official decisions. In a recent appearance on Josh Thompson's podcast, Fluffy discussed the possibility of facing the newly crowned champion, Khamzat Chimaev, analyzing the stylistic challenge he would bring. He showed his striking against Gilbert, and I don't think it was the greatest, Fluffy said, assessing Chimaev's overall game. His best weapon is his wrestling. Once he connects his hands, it becomes a nightmare. It wouldn't be an easy fight, it'd be a hard fight and a fun fight, but honestly, probably a boring one. Guys like that just want to lay on you, control you. I get it, I do it too sometimes when I'm tired. It happens to all of us, but he's definitely a really good wrestler. Fluffy emphasized that he's eager to prove himself against whoever can take him closer to a title shot. Whoever gets me there next, I'm excited for it, he added. But I'd really like to fight Dricus Du Plessis because, as a former champion, he accomplished a lot. He beat big names, earned respect, and proved himself at the top. Beating someone like him would mean something. It would show I can take down a proven champion, or at least someone who once held that status. If this fight materializes, it could be one of the most explosive middleweight clashes of the year. A battle between raw aggression and technical precision, where both men have something to prove and everything to lose. Move on to another news. Dana White recently addressed several major UFC topics, from Merab Dvalishvili's dominant run to Ilia Topuria's next fight, and the buzz surrounding Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. The UFC president praised Merab's incredible year, calling it one of the most active title reigns in modern history. With 4 title defenses in 2025 and a 4th bout now confirmed against Pereira this December, Dana highlighted Merab's relentless pace and championship mentality, describing him as a machine who just keeps going. Dana admitted it took him some time to fully appreciate Merab's style, but said he's now a big fan. "I love that mentality," he said. "He wants to be the first guy ever to defend his title that many times in 1 year. Look at what he's done, how he's proven himself as a fighter and as a world champion." White also confirmed that matchmaking meetings were held earlier in the week and revealed that work has begun on the first ever Paramount card, part of UFC's new broadcast partnership. When asked if Ilia Topuria could headline or appear on that event, Dana smiled and simply said, "It's a possibility." Topuria, who last fought in June, is expected to return in January, the perfect timing to open UFC's new chapter on Paramount. While Dana didn't reveal an opponent, speculation points to either Justin Gaethje or Paddy Pimblett as the frontrunners. Both matchups would be high energy and fan-friendly. Spanish outlets claim Gaethje is next in line for a title shot, but several insiders, including top fighters like Arman Tsarukyan, have hinted that the situation might play out differently. Finally, Dana reacted to Charles Oliveira's stunning win over Mateusz Gamrot and his post-fight call-out of Max Holloway for the BMF title. White acknowledged the idea with excitement, but stopped short of confirming anything. "That fight would be incredible to see again," he said. "We don't have anything official yet, but we did talk about it today." With Merab chasing history, Topuria possibly headlining the Paramount debut, and Oliveira aiming for a blockbuster against Holloway, 2025 is shaping up to be one of the UFC's most explosive years yet. And Dana White seems more fired up than ever.